for today. The first item of business being apologies and leave of absence. We don't have, I think we are all here. Is that right, Gavin? No apologies. Any leaves of absence? Oops.
No.
No. Great. Okay. Well, we'll note that for the record. I'll move now to the confirmation of the agenda, and so there have been some changes to the agenda with additional late reports, and there's been a withdrawal of one of the public excluded agenda items. So I move that the agenda for the meeting of the Waters Governance Board held today, Thursday, 30 April 2020, be confirmed, and all items therein be considered in open meeting, with the exception of those items detailed at agenda item 6, which will be discussed in the public excluded session. I also move that the board resolves that the following items be added to the agenda as a matter of urgency, as advised by the Chief Executive. And that is item 5.7, potential shovel-ready projects, and an additional item in the public excluded meeting around force majeure. So that item will be discussed at the end of the public excluded session. I also move further that the board resolves that the following item be withdrawn from the agenda, which is item number PEX, being the publicly excluded session, PEX 2.11 being the amendment of the agreement relating to the supply of water and the collection and treatment of wastewater. So with those changes to the agenda, and can I please have someone second me moving those resolutions? Thanks, David. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Against? Carried. Thank you. Now we go to the confirmation of minutes. Actually, please just go back a minute. Just note the action register. Actually, no. Sorry, no, we'll come back to that. If we go to the minutes of 11 February 2020. Are there any corrections to be made to those minutes? Sorry, Lynette.
Can you just please make sure that you do the disclosures of interest?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I've got two running agendas here. One said at the beginning, and one was at item 3. So we'll do the disclosures of interest first. So the register is in your board pack, directors. So if there are any changes to be made to that register, please let Lynette know. Also, if there are any issues of conflict that arise in relation to any of the agenda items, please note it or disclose it at the relevant time. So can I have someone move and second the receipt of the register of interest, please? Thanks, David. Second, Gavin. All those in favour? Aye. Raise your hands. Against? Carried. Thank you. So if we go back to the minutes, please, of 11 February 2020. Are there any corrections to those minutes? I note that we had apologies for that meeting from Jackie and Garth. So David and Gavin, I was comfortable with the minutes. Do you have any corrections? Comments? No.
And happy to move.
Thanks, David.
I'll second.
Thanks, Gavin. All those in favour, raise your hands. Against? Carried. Thank you. Now if we move to the action register. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Yes, the action register on page 13. Now, just checking I've got the right. Gavin, did you want to take us through, or Ian? So I just need to double check I've got the right ones. Oh no, yes, I'm in the right meeting. I just noted that there.
So, so if I just quickly go through these, so we haven't agreed a date with the minister. That was really overtaken by COVID-19. So we haven't re-agreed a date. And obviously what ended up happening is we deferred that meeting really until today. So the second point around Skype facilities, again, that's been superseded by the events. So just working down the table there, the dates to delegations table. Carol, do you want to talk to that one?
Progress, unfortunately, on that, but it's still definitely on my list to do as soon as I can get to it.
Yeah.
I think perhaps if there'll be a number of action items as a result of COVID that won't have been attended to. So I think the best thing is for the next iteration to put in, just if we could have each of those who have been assigned tasks to work through the due date and update this register.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we go down, Ian, I'm assuming that is the same.
Well, no, that's been done. That's in this set of papers.
Oh, sorry, yes, it is. Yep.
Yep, so that's in there. Small water schemes, no action, sadly. Education, that's with yourself.
Oh, could I just, oh no, so it's later on. Papai, yep, no, carry on.
The Raglan wastewater consent application we've made, we have been moving on it, but we've just not circulated that, sadly. Same with the next one as well. Again, we've been overtaken with everything around COVID and getting these papers together. Merry abatement notice, I believe that's in this set of papers.
Yeah.
Local government, as discussed by Gavin. Legislation, that's part of that prior letter that we've already discussed. KPIs, we're monitoring that inside of the ops side of things, but of course we've been in slightly different prevailing conditions with the COVID, so we can see that in the ops report. High level program resource consent strategy, that's was attached as a late paper. Reticulation, Narrawahia upgrade, there's been some work carrying on with that. We've just been talking about it just on a meeting just before this. So that's doing very well in terms of a development agreement, moving with the developer to come out with a good outcome. So we'll be able to update that in the near future. So Watercare have been working really well with Kevin from the infrastructure team on that.
The next one is for me, and apologies, I don't think it was my intention to have a session after every board meeting. So I will work with Gavin and Lynette to work to look at incorporating that training into our board calendar. I'm thinking every quarter as opposed to every board meeting. Happy to do every board meeting if that's what directors want, but no. Yeah. Sorry, Jackie.
I think there's a need to have a focus session initially, just to provide the landscape for those who maybe aren't that active in the Waikato.
Yeah, so that is, I think that comes up elsewhere, and I think we frame that around the vision and strategy, as well as getting some context around the river settlement. So I see this, there are two parts to this training. There is the focus session, as Jackie has alluded to, around context of the river settlement, and then there's the you know, on a quarterly or 6 monthly basis, we'll do some follow-up training. So I'll take that offline and with Gavin to work into our calendar. So thank you, Jackie. Responsibilities. Gavin, the
so I haven't made any progress on that. I will do though before the next meeting.
No, that's okay. Joint meeting with Watercare again. That I'm not sure if you've had a chance to check in with Margaret yet, Gavin, but we had a sort of tentative date in June. Is that still likely to be the case?
I think from memory, it's actually getting feedback from this board about their availability for that meeting. And I know, Garth, I think you were, and I think there were concerns expressed about our ability to actually have that meeting with COVID-19. So we hope by 30th of June, it might be possible in some shape or form, but it's unclear at this time.
Okay, well, we'll keep monitoring that. But I think that that board-to-board engagement this year sometime will be good. The vision and strategy. So again, that would be the first workshop we have on in terms of board training. That would be the first one we would attempt to have. So we'll come back on that as to a date and who might deliver that workshop.
So Ruku, is that actually a double up?
Yeah, it might be. That's why I wanted to talk offline how the two came up. Yeah.
It's rolling together.
Board to be provided opportunity. Okay, right. We've got the next item around the submission around 3. Oh no, that's a different matter. Sorry.
So I actually need to go back on this because and Jackie will know this, but tentatively we're having 2 representatives being the mayor and deputy mayor. So I need to just go back and rework that, because the intent and the discussion I had with the mayor was that it would actually be a member of this board, would be the council representative. That was the intention. And I'll need to talk to him because there is actually a scheduled meeting on Monday at 11 AM, Jackie, if I'm right.
Yeah, that's correct. So there's 2 things going on. There's the sub-regional 3 waters study. So that's from Karapiro, Te Awamutu through to the port, looking at all 3 waters, and it will deliver a program business case for 3 waters infrastructure. So the work that Watercare are doing in the river communities will feed into that. There's also another project that is being stood up, and that's to progress the metro area. So this is Cambridge, Te Awamutu through to about Taupiri, to progress wastewater servicing solutions for that area. So that's to deliver a project level business case. So the meeting on Monday, Gavin, is around that metro area project business case, and those are 2 of the projects that have been put forward by the Future Proof family as part of the stimulus package, the transformational projects that MHUD have asked for. So it's a project level piece of work, which is intimately linked with the sub-regional 3 waters program, but is a separate thing. So the advice that I've had from the Waikato district team is that, yeah, the Mayor Sanson and Deputy Mayor Beck would like to sit on the governance structure for that project. And I've asked the question whether this board is the appropriate committee for recommendations to be made back to. And the advice that I've received is it's the infrastructure committee. So.
Okay, so I'll need to take that offline and sort that out. So the intention is that, and I'm thinking about both things Jackie, in terms of the responsibilities of this board. My view is that it should be represented, at least one of the representatives should be a representative from this board. And in fact, Rookie, you and I had a conversation offline about this as well. So I'll first of all check in with the mayor, and then if I can come back to the board on that. So if we can maybe deal with that separately.
I think there's gosh, from memory, it comes up later on in our reports today. So we might be able to pick it up there. And if it doesn't, well, yes, by all means, Gavin, I think get clarity from the mayor, and ideally we'd want to have somebody from this board to be represented on that governance group.
So, and just to explain where the confusion has arisen is it's all been done by emails, and staff in trying to do the right thing have sort of gone direct to the mayor. So I need to just have a conversation with the mayor first. So if you can just if we can leave this on here, and I'll have that conversation and talk to you, Ruka, about it.
Okay, great. Thank you. The next item's not due until November. We've got the risk register. Ian.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at that. I'll do that for the next meeting.
Thank you. Right, so this work is obviously, I know some work has been done on collating that presentation for the minister, so I think we'll find another date and obviously pull that information together again for the board to review.
Yep.
Okay, so board members, is there anything from the action register that you wanted to comment on or get clarity about? No. Okay, so could I please have somebody move and second the action register? Thanks, David. Second, Garth. All those in favour, raise your hands. Against, carried. Thank you. Let's move on now to where are we at? Not the action register. Sharon, I think we are on to you, please. The performance, February performance report. And actually, I'd like to take the guidance of the board because we've got the February and the March performance report in our pack. And Sharon, correct me if I'm wrong, but the March, I think we can note the February report and move straight to the March, given that is the most up-to-date version and covers off the issues that were outstanding in February in any case.
Yeah, absolutely, because World of Care submitted that March report maybe 6 weeks ago now, so it is quite out of date.
Yeah.
The February report, sorry, some time ago.
Okay.
That's,
so just for the sake of record, Ruku, I'll move that we receive the February report.
Mm-hmm.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those directors in favour of receiving the Three Waters performance report for February? Against? Carried. Thank you. Thanks, Sharon. So if we move to the March report, please.
okay, so the March report, from the KPI point of view, we've put some of the health and safety KPIs on hold, such as doing site drills for emergency preparedness, having company-wide site meetings for health and safety and things like that. But we have been doing alternates, but they just don't quite align with the KPIs. Other than that, most of the KPIs have been doing okay in March and in April, to be fair. We have, because we've not been doing planned work during the lockdown, we've been able to prioritise some of the unplanned work a little bit better. And plus, it's been really quiet. It's been quiet. So I think that's a good news story. Obviously, we've had some challenges. We've had some new staff start during the lockdown in isolation from their homes, and that's been quite a challenge. But the new reticulation cadet we actually put into treatment to act as a to help out in the treatment space rather than reticulation. So we've had our new staff starting have had some challenges just due to some of the restrictions we've got at the moment. That being said, though, the COVID-19 response has actually gone really well, and we've not had any problems. As I've said in some of the earlier board meetings, the biggest problem has actually been keeping people busy with the lower workload. We've had no significant issues in March. The wet wipe issue died away. I think the public information from people like Water New Zealand and the Grocery Council helped there. So we can take the networks and the treatment stuff as read. The planning team's been working well from home and making good progress on some of the consenting issues and the strategies, and obviously the AMP and gathering all the information for the Watercare business plan. So that's been going really well as well. And we're still working through Mary and Te Kauwhata abatement notice resolution. We've got a preferred tenderer for the for Mary. We've just we'll present that to the next board meeting. It's sort of just on hold because we were concerned if we awarded it during the lockdown or level 3, we'd just be up for delays straight away. So we've chosen to put it on hold for a couple of weeks. Waikato District Council can talk to to shared services. There's no, all the drinking water standards, we're fully compliant, and the wastewater treatment non-compliances have not got any worse. The biggest impact to customer is that we've stopped meter readings for March. The meter readers think they'll be back to normal by the 11th of May, which is still a couple of weeks away. So we will still have estimates for the time being. Condition assessment report's been received, and we're progressing the new resource consents from Mary and Ragland to plan pretty much. So I think in March, even though we had very disrupted month, we actually did pretty well. Right. Operationally, kept everything going. Customer complaints have fallen. The number of faults being reported has fallen. So it's been, which is similar to Auckland as well. So I think people have been happy at home.
Yeah. Thanks, Sharon. And I do want to just record for the minutes just my appreciation of the board and the team coming together out of board cycle to get regular updates on health and safety and on the key projects that Watercare has been working on outside our monthly scheduled meeting, I think, which has been a good exercise, so we're not coming into today kind of cold, so to speak. So with that, can I just invite any questions of Sharon from board members?
So it's more a comment, Ruku, that I have a meeting scheduled to talk about the shared services on Friday the 8th of May. So my intent before that is to, just letting you know now, is to organise a meeting with Ian and Sharon and Carol, just to get some background and just talk about that before I go and have this meeting. But that'll help in terms of getting some clear way forward with the shared service.
Great, thanks, Given. And that was obviously a follow-up from a conversation that was had the other week. Board members, any other comments, questions to Sharon on the Jackie?
Oh, kia ora. I've just got a couple of questions. The first is on the stormwater consent abatement notice. I'm just interested in knowing what the issues are there and what the planned resolution is my first question.
The issues, they're mainly around the abatement notice. They're just a long list of minor non-compliances that have been minorly non-compliant for a long time that they've become an issue. A lot of it is to do with providing records to the regional council of maintenance of things like enviropods and things like that, and to undertake sampling and provide records. I think in some cases that it's actually it's actually, the work's actually been done, but no records have been taken or provided to the regional council. So there's also, bearing in mind this is for last year as well, it's not for this year. There's been no community consultation group meetings. There's been no education programs. There's just a lot of things that haven't happened. So we were actually having a workshop in March when Jacinda Ardern announced the lockdown. So we obviously stopped the workshop, but we'll kick that off again. Unfortunately, it's got put on hold, and we'll just work through the non-compliances. There's nothing super significant. It's just a lot of stuff that hasn't been able to provide. Well, the lack of community consultation is actually probably pretty significant, but a lot of the rest of it is just record keeping, and some of the record keeping is actually from assets maintained by the Roading Alliance as well, such as catch pits. And I think they actually do the work. It's just no records have actually been presented to the regional council.
Yeah.
So Watercare and Ian and your team are working to make sure that appropriate systems are in place to address the lack of recording. Yeah. Just on the community consultation, would it be possible to see a bit of an engagement plan for the whole district? Because I know that there's lots of different conversations happening for specific projects, but I think the lack of just regular engagement is something that appears to be an issue. So it would be good to do that in a more coordinated and cohesive way.
Yep.
So I've got another couple of questions, if that's all right, Madam Chair.
Yes.
The first is around, I guess, the AMPs and what involvement Watercare are having in informing the upcoming LTP review.
Watercare is preparing the water AMP on behalf of Waikato District Council at the moment for the 3 waters. So we'll be providing the technical information and the funding programs based on what we see as appropriate to resolve some of the existing issues and to accommodate growth and all those sort of things. Yep.
And so those will be coming to the board before they go to council?
That's up to Ian and Carol to decide. We plan to submit that information to Ian and Carol in mid-June.
Yep, and then we'll share that with the board.
Yeah, which is in line with the council timelines for submission of the AMPs. Yep.
Gavin, will there be sufficient time for the board to have any meaningful input into that ahead of it going through council processes?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure at the moment. I mean, everything's kind of changed. So, but the board does need to have input into it. So it does need to come through the board to go on to council. That's the process we do need to follow.
I agree. Thank you, Gavin. I think and from memory, that is also one of the deliverables in the service contract that I would expect the board to have oversight of. So if we have to have a meeting out of cycle, then we can do that. So we could, in order to meet council's other LTP timeframes. Sorry, Sharon, I think I cut you off. Did you want to say something?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Just two more questions for me. Just in some of the operational failures that have occurred, there seem to have been a number of issues at the Huntly water treatment plant over the last month. So just wondering whether a comprehensive system review and risk assessment has been completed for that plant, just because there were a number of issues there in the last month. And the final sort of question that I have is there's some indicative estimates for Te Kaupata water treatment system upgrades. I just wonder if we're going to be talking about the water take consent as part of sort of considering that investment.
I can address Huntly first. A lot of the failures, to be blunt, at Huntly are due to obsolete instrumentation and equipment, and that was identified in the in the condition assessment and plan. So we're in the process of working through how we're going to incorporate that, and that it'll helpfully be addressed in some of the electrical control system upgrades that are coming, and it'll stop some of these instrumentation failures which cause some of the other failures. So instrumentation and control system obsolescence is an issue throughout the district, and it does keep us on our toes, so to speak. So we are looking at that, and hopefully some of that will get done in the asset remediation next year. And the water take is probably we are considering, as part of that mid Waikato strategy, water and wastewater in that study, and the consent will be part of that. And I think Ian's doing a separate negotiation with the Tikawara Water Association.
Yeah, so I can feedback on that. We've had a discussion with Tanvir and Carl from Watercare and with TK Water Association. It was admittedly, I'm going to say 2 months ago. It's probably longer, but with regards to our strategy to gain that resource consent and how we best do it, it's sat with me just to go back to ask Watercare to pretty much run that for us with their expertise and help TK Water Association as well in a sort of tripartite approach to securing that water take. So it's on the to-do list. Requires me just to go back to Watercare to get that piece of work done and to drive it.
Can I ask a question, Madam Chair?
Sure.
Just at Te Kaupapa, just checking on the water quality statement that's here. Do we currently have a nitrogen and E. coli issue at Te Kaupapa?
I can answer that. In the wastewater treatment plant discharge into Waikiri Lake at the moment, yes, we do. That's the main non-compliance at the treatment plant. But
so it's not a drinking water issue.
No, it's not a drinking water issue. It's a wastewater issue. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Garth. Jackie, were you satisfied with that answer?
I'm just really keen for the board to see the proposed Te Kauwhata water take consent strategy before we sort of embark on those steps, because I think it's quite a strategic piece that we need to take care around. And just in relation to the Te Kauwhata wastewater treatment plant, and this ties into my comment around ongoing community engagement, I think it's really important that the teams engage with community stakeholders and mana whenua as part of identifying options and developing solutions, rather than wait until technical teams have selected what they consider the preferred options and then going to tell people what that is. So I think it's really important that we involve our stakeholders and mana whenua throughout. Thank you.
I can feedback on that just to give we've picked that one up. That's another lack of engagement with the community of late. There's a meeting planned, I think it's for 17th of June. We're trying to resurrect that and get that up and going again. And also there's a request into Watercare to run across our community engagement areas around those key consents, such as TK and Raglan, for Watercare to actually start running that for us with their expertise, which is one of the reasons why we went to them in the first place. And then just in terms of the overview across all the resource consents, I've started something with Sharon, which is just looking at all our consents, what abatement notices, what letters of direction we're in place, which are plenty, and what we're doing on each of them, because it's fair to say they've all slipped in terms of the way that they've been managed over the recent past. And it's something that once we've cleared a few of the other backlog issues, which we're working through with our water issues workshops, we'll move into those areas and be able to focus on those actual consent issues that we're facing, which are quite significant.
It would be really good to see a schedule of the strategic resource consents, water consents that the district hold, and the current status and when those consents are due to lapse, so we can move from the sort of really reactive approach that we're in at the moment to something that's more proactive. So if that can be put on the actions.
Yep, I was working on that yesterday. I've got the list, got the dates. It's all in the strategic resource consent ops mandate. It just needs putting out to put more detail together. The issue being is myself and Sharon did discuss it, and it's been a recent email this morning with regards to doing that. If you put it along with everything else, we've just got a significant amount of work to do, but we are plugging away at it, and I would hope to have a preliminary, maybe even a draft to circulate as soon as I can, but it won't be in its completeness until the next board meeting and maybe the one after, but that's what we're aiming to do. Yeah, it's certainly an area of concern.
Thanks, Ian. We look forward to receiving that schedule at the next board meeting as probably the better timing for you. Sorry, David, did I miss your hand there? Yes, I did.
Thank you, Chair. I want to make a comment, but just firstly, just to that last, can you actually give us an indication of the abatement notices so that we've got with the complete picture, so that some of these things are coming as somewhat of a surprise. I've got my internet here is not too stable at the moment, so hopefully you're catching what I'm saying. Every so often you're freezing, but the comment I wanted to make was simply to compliment Watercare Services in terms of maintaining the essential services. I guess this is the appropriate point to make it while we're looking at the March report, but equally just to say compliment you on maintaining the essential services through the difficult period we've been. Just reading that report and seeing actually what we have done, I think is testament to the capability, capacity and technical expertise that Watercare Services is bringing to us. So I just would like to get that noted in the minutes. Because I think it does show to the strength of the arrangement we've got in place now. So Sharon, if you can thank the team for what you managed to do through what has been a challenging period.
Thanks, I will. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks for raising that, David. Okay, so if we, any Gavin? You're still on mute, Gavin.
Yeah, okay. Just one more thing, which was just wondering whether Ian or Sharon would like to talk about the meeting, the video, well, Zoom meeting with stakeholders about Raglan.
Yep, I'm happy to talk to that. So I think it was Wednesday last week, we held a stakeholder engagement with the Raglan community. It was done by Zoom. We had about 20 odd people there from across the community, so it was consultation from the couch pretty much, and it went very well. Councillor Beck facilitated the meeting. It was about an hour and a half long. Watercare made presentations around where we're at currently, and it was very well received. We are continuing those monthly meetings. We've written up the minutes, they've gone out, and overall pretty good feedback from the community with regards to how we've engaged on that. So a bit of innovative, and we'll probably continue, well, we will continue doing those meetings by Zoom into the future. We've started going from the long list to the short list. There's been some workshops that have gone on last week with technical experts, Watercare involved, and consultants and council. And we're bringing that down to a short list, and then we continue on that journey towards a November deadline. So that's probably anything else, Sharon, that I've missed there, or Carol?
No.
No, went very well.
That's good. And testament to that community actually to come together, on a Zoom isn't, it's not easy at the best of times. So that's great that there was a good engagement there. If there's nothing further, there are a few key actions out of that discussion. The schedule of strategic consents, abatement notices, and importantly, the community engagement mana whenua plan that sits across the district in particular. So we look forward to receiving those at the next, or at least a high level plan or high level schedule if it can't be completed by the next board meeting. Okay, if there's nothing further, then can I please have someone to move and second the March water care performance report? Thanks, Gavin. Moved. Garth, second. All those in favour, raise your hands. Against, carried. Thank you. Thanks, Sharon. If we now turn to the Maramarua wastewater treatment plant paper.
Yep. I can just talk to that. So the letter of direction was received in February, and we've actually completed the works to resolve the issues already. And the letter will respond with regards to those 4 required actions. I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure I have not completed that letter, I must confess. Okay. So the letter with regard to that, but the work's already been completed, and the picture was, I think, on the front of the February ops report. I think it was February with the work that was completed. It's only serving the 8 properties.
Okay, so Ian, in terms of the work that's been completed, that you're referring to those 4 areas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no action is required here. We're just noting.
I'm just confirming that March letter.
Sorry, the March letter.
To respond by the 31st of March that we've completed.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah, that's gone by the wayside in the COVID thing. I'll just complete that.
Okay. I'm assuming though the regional council understand the state of play, and yeah.
Absolutely, okay. Yeah.
Any questions, comments from board members on the on this paper and the status of Maramarua? Yes, Jackie.
I've just got a question around the history of that treatment plant. You know, it seems like a very small service area, 8 houses, and what the obligation is, or the historic obligation is for council to provide that service.
I can answer that one. It was the history of the treatment plant is it used to be a forestry department settlement there at Maramarua when they were when there was big forestry action there, and the council inherited it from the forestry department. It serves 8 houses. It is an expensive plant to run. It's a long way away from any other assets that the council has in water and wastewater. So it even takes a long time for anyone to drive there. So Watercare is going to do a review of some of these smaller plants, water and wastewater, moving forward, about the viability of some of them moving forward, just from a sheer cost point of view. But yeah, there's a lot of private systems that are bigger than that system out there.
Thanks, Sharon. On mute, okay. You're on mute, okay.
Thanks, Jackie. So what did I say? I said, yes, so we're noting the compliance issues for Maramarua have been resolved, and that a letter will be sent to Regional Council, Waikato Regional Council, informing them of the same. So if I could just have somebody move and second the receipt of this report. Thanks, Gavin. Second, David. All those in favour, raise your hands. Against, carried. Thanks, Ian. Right, we're now turning to the water services bill submission, and again, as a board, we had input into the submission, or at least had the opportunity to review and make and give comment. So this really is just to confirm, yeah, that our submission has been lodged. Is there any update on this that you wanted to provide, Gavin or Ian?
I've heard nothing.
Okay.
Jackie might know more than we do, I suspect, but
no, I haven't heard anything. And I also haven't seen any further movement on the water services bill as opposed to the Taumata Arawai bill that this submission relates to. David might have seen something.
I've had no update either in relation to the status of the bill or hearings.
Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on that.
Can I just move that we receive it?
Yes.
Pretty much the recommendation that's there. Peter.
Thanks, Gavin. Second, Garth. All those in favour, if you could raise your hands. Against, carried. Thanks, team. We are now, Lynette, correct me if I'm wrong, but we are now at the end of the open portion of our meeting. So I move that we now move into the public excluded. Oh, Lynette's putting her hand up. Yes.
Sorry, Roku. Before you go into that, you've got that one that we've added, the potential shovel-ready projects.
Yes, apologies. Yes, we do. If I could draw the board's attention to the report that was circulated via email on the shovel-ready projects. Gavin, who will speak to that?
Oh, just to say, if you recall, we discussed informally that in the information that we provided to the various government departments, we didn't provide any information around Three Waters projects that are ready to go. And so Sharon has now come back with a list, which has really I've just passed on to you. And it's really there, should there be an opportunity a further opportunity to put forward other shovel-ready projects. We now have a list that we can put forward. I think that's really the gist of it.
Thank you. Any comments from board members on those projects? I guess, as you say, Gavin, this is at the central government's discretion as to whether they will fund these. Sorry, can you just clarify for me, have we submitted this list, or this is just us preparing ourselves for if that was to eventuate?
So to date, we've submitted projects, not Three Waters projects, but other projects to 3 different government departments, or 2 government departments and Crown Infrastructure Partners. This list has gone nowhere. We simply have it prepared in case we get that opportunity for a further iteration of shovel-ready projects. There has been some discussion about that being a possibility. So we're just being ready in case we get that opportunity.
Okay, great. And if it's not through government, the opportunity arises, maybe there's another conversation to be had with iwi potentially. Jackie?
Yeah, I just wonder if we should be, I guess, being a little bit more proactive and submitting it to CIP. I know that the door's closed, and obviously with the future-proof partners, just on the off chance that they might consider it. I know that they've got probably hundreds, if not thousands, of projects that have been submitted, but I just wonder if we shouldn't just submit this list anyway.
So my advice, Roku, would be not to do that. We know that Crown Infrastructure Partners have had 1,700 different submissions. A number of them are not shovel ready, to be honest. So they are sifting through those and they are reporting back to the government almost now. So by the end of this week, my understanding is, and then it'll go into the government process. So I think, unfortunately, we're too late. And I think the indications are they're well and truly oversubscribed, without any doubt. So I don't think we would gain anything by doing that at this point in time. I think we just have to wait and see on the chance that there will be a second iteration that we might be able to lodge these with. We were caught a little bit on the hop the first time round because we didn't see this coming, and then there were various lists that were being touted that we had to respond to. So this time we're just trying to be a bit more prepared should that opportunity arise.
Opposed to waiting for that second opportunity, and that's perhaps something we can talk about at a later date, and maybe that this forms part of the discussion with our strategic discussion with the Water Care Board at some stage. So, but appreciate the work in pulling that list together, Sharon and Ian. David.
Well, firstly, just to support Gavin's view. But my question was consideration given to including any Three Waters projects on that first list of strategic regional projects that were submitted to government?
The answer is yes, we did have some discussions about it. The criteria was a little unclear. And so in the end, we didn't do that, but I think things have become a bit clearer since. I mean, we understood that shovel ready meant ready to go now. The minister, both two ministers have clarified that shovel ready means able to start within 12 months. So that meant some difference in terms of interpretation. But that's only become clear after the event. So we probably, in hindsight, we were very, we very strictly complied with the instructions we were given from what they have received, and I know this. There are a lot that didn't comply with those requirements. So it'll be interesting to see how the government ends up treating that situation.
If I can add, David, if you look at the list that's been submitted by the region, there are some other districts that have included local Three Waters infrastructure projects. And that's where this discussion came from at one of our catch-ups was, you know, what projects does Waikato District have that could potentially be put forward?
Yeah, no, thanks, Jackie.
Right, thanks, Gavin. Lynette.
Rooker, you just need to get a mover and seconder to receive this report before you go to the public excluded item.
Sure, thanks, Lynette. Can I have, I'm happy to move. Second, Garth. All those in favour, raise your hands. Against, carried. Thank you. So before we go into the public excluded session, I'd like to move that Sharon Danks. I think, Sharon, you're the only water care representative on Zoom at the moment, aren't you? Yes. So that Sharon be permitted to remain in the meeting after the public has been excluded because of her knowledge of water care. This knowledge will be of assistance in relation to the matters that we will discuss and is relevant because of water care's role and responsibility for those matters. So if I could have somebody second that. Thanks, Gavin. The board, if you're in favour for Sharon to remain as I've outlined, please raise your hands. Against, carried. Thank you. So board members, we're just going to adjourn for a couple of minutes to allow live streaming to stop. And then Grace or myself will confirm when that's been completed, and then we will reconvene, and a separate confidential recording will be made of the public excluded section. Okay. Right. Thank you. And Lynette, how do I, what do I do now? 2-minute break, okay. So do we have to come out of live stream, sorry, out of the Zoom and re-enter?
Sorry, Roku. So I'll just, sorry, it's Grace here. So if you guys just stay on the line, I just gonna stop the live recording. You guys can all stay there, and then I'll let you know that the live recording has definitely finished, and then you can go into PX.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Team, I'm literally going to take a 2-minute comfort stop, so I will be back.